Thinning shears. Every stylist owns a pair, but let's be real. They can be both a lifesaver and a total disaster. I'm going to share the 5 things I absolutely hate about thinning shears. And if you've ever had a haircut ruined by them, or maybe you were a stylist and ruined one yourself when you were learning, you'll definitely relate to this. Stick around until the end, because I'm not only going to break down the 5 problems, but I'll also give you my pro stylist tips for when to use them and when to put them away. When you first graduate beauty school, thinning shears are like this shiny new toy. You think they'll fix everything. Bulk too heavy? Grab the thinning shears. Layers not blending? Grab the thinning shears. But here's the truth. They can be one of the most misused tools in our industry. Used wrong, they can ruin a haircut. They can weaken the hair, and they can frustrate clients who just want their hair to behave. Let's start with my number 1 complaint. Holes. Those weird like steps or see-through patches that pop up when thinning shears are used too high up on the strand. When I was starting off in my assistantship in a high-end salon in San Diego, we weren't even allowed to use our thinning shears. We got them in our school kit, and my mentor explained how we could totally ruin our foundational haircuts if we used them, especially if we used them incorrectly. However, when I was a new stylist behind the chair at a booth rental salon with no one telling me what to do, I thought I was a genius for using them to soften layers on a sleek bob. But the next time that client came in, hair straight and flat ironed, it was whole city. She had chunks missing where the thinning shears had taken out too much weight in the middle of the hair. Ugh, here's the lesson. Thinning shears should almost never be used near the scalp or mid-shaft. If you have questions about this, you definitely want to watch my video on how to use your thinning shears. You lose control, and instead of blending, you carve out accidental ledges. If you want softness, use point cutting or slide cutting instead. You'll get the blend without the staircase effect. Number 2, on fine hair, thinning shears are basically a no-no. People with fine or thinning hair are begging for fullness. They want body, they want movement, they want density. The moment you pull out those thinning shears, you're cutting away the little bit of volume they already had. I'll never forget one client who came in almost in tears. Another stylist had gone to town with thinning shears on her fine shoulder-length bob. It looked shredded, like wet tissue paper. It was terrible. It took us months of strategic trims, protein treatments, and styling hacks to rebuild her confidence. If your client has fine hair, skip the thinning shears altogether. Instead, focus on creating the illusion of volume with shape, with stacked bobs, graduation, and light layering techniques, which means only putting layers above the parietal ridge or the curve of the head. Go check out this video if you're in doubt. And you need to know about product knowledge. Product knowledge is key. You want to use volumizing mousse and a round brush. This will give them that fullness that thinning shears will only take away. Number 3, damage. Every snip of thinning shear weakens the strand because you're cutting it into random points. On healthy, thick hair, sometimes you can get away with this. But on curly, coarse, or already fragile hair, it's a recipe for frizz and split ends. Think about it. Every cut you make opens up the hair shaft, and when those ends are left uneven, they fray. I had a curly-haired client once who had been thinned out all over with thinning shears, and instead of beautiful shape for her curls just exploded into like a halo of frizz. She thought her texture was the problem, but really, it was the tool. If you're working with curls, waves, or textured hair, please leave your thinning shears in the drawer. Instead, learn how to carve out the weight with point cutting or channel cutting, which respects the curl pattern and it keeps the integrity of the hair intact. Number 4, this is something I learned after years of cutting. Thinning shears take away precision. With your shears, every cut is intentional, right? With thinning shears, you're cutting multiple random strands all at once. It's like painting with a roller when you really just need a fine-tipped brush. That lack of control is why so many stylists overthin the hair without realizing it, because you don't see the full impact until the hair is dry and the client goes home. And let me tell you, there is nothing worse than that phone call 2 days later. My hair looks terrible and I can't style it. Whew. I now tell my students, if you can achieve the same result with regular shears, do it. Keep your thinning shears for those few cases where you truly need a softer line or you need subtle bulk removal. And finally, number 5, they're overused. Too many stylists grab thinning shears as a shortcut when they don't know how to solve the real problem. The line's too heavy? Grab the thinning shears. The haircut feels bulky? Grab the thinning shears. But what happens? You mask the issue temporarily instead of addressing it with the proper cutting techniques. I once had a stylist shadow me who confessed she used thinning shears in every single haircut because, as she put it, it just makes everything look softer. It used to drive me crazy to watch her always pull out her thinning shears after she had already cut the hair. She'd blown it dry and then she'd just go to town like Edward Scissorhands. But the truth is, the haircut wasn't holding up for her clients. Softness achieved with intention, like with point cutting, texturizing, or layering, is lasting. Quick thinning shear shortcuts, they just don't age well. Here's what I always say. Thinning shears are the seasoning, not the main dish. They're not supposed to carry the whole haircut. They're an accent, used sparingly with intention in the right place. So, do I hate thinning shears altogether? No. They can be useful in specific situations like blending men's haircuts, diffusing heavy lines and really thick hair, or even blending extensions. But the difference between a pro and a beginner is knowing when not to use them. If you master the basics of weight removal with your regular shears, like with point cutting, channel cutting, slide cutting, you'll hardly need them. I've gone 30 years without having to grab my thinning shears. Now, do I reach for them now and then? Yeah, but very, very rarely. It's mostly to show what not to do with them. I just want you to understand that when you do reach for them, it needs to be deliberate, not a desperate fix. That's what takes your work from average to polished. So now I want to know what's your relationship with thinning shears. Do you love them? Do you hate them? Have you ever had a client melt down because of them? Or maybe you've been the client who has had this happen to you. Tell me your best or your worst thinning shear story in the comments. And if you found this video helpful, go ahead, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell so you don't miss the next one. I've also linked my how to use thinning shears video below, and it goes deeper into texturizing techniques so you can feel confident in knowing when to grab the thinning shears and when to keep them in your drawer. Thanks for watching, and as always, remember, when you know better, you do better.